It always comes down to Israel for certain people on the right. If you don't criticize Israel 24/7 like they do, if you don't make everything about Israel all the time, then you're not patriotic. You're not sufficiently America first. Well, if you've ever seen the John Carpenter movie called They Live, you probably remember the pair of sunglasses that are discovered by the hobo main character. Once he puts these sunglasses on, the hobo realizes that an awful lot of people who appear to be human on the outside are in reality bug-eyed aliens. And without giving the movie away, needless to say, this revelation really changes the hobo's perspective on the world. Nothing's really the same after that. And over the weekend, courtesy of the social media platform X, the conservative movement in this country had kind of a they live moment. Rather abruptly, for every single account on the platform, X began disclosing the country where the account is based in, meaning where the person has been posting from. And additionally, X will tell you the region where the user downloaded the X app. So if X detects that the poster is using a VPN to hide location information, it will alert you to that possibility as well. But in general, these two data points have been sufficient to reveal most people's general location. And as a result, in just a matter of hours, we've learned conclusively where not all, but a significant amount of the division on the right and really in the culture generally, has been coming from over the past year. And a lot of it has not been coming from Americans. It has come, much of it, from foreigners posing as American citizens, from foreigners posing as Native Americans, from foreigners posing as Republicans, from foreigners posing as Democrats. In short, the division has been coming from foreigners. And the scale of this propaganda campaign is so large that it should be the single biggest news story in the country right now. At the very least, it deserves 10 times more media hyperventilating than everyone else and everything else they're talking about. Like, this is nothing like the fake accusations of Russian meddling in the 2016 election, where Russia supposedly spent $50,000 on Facebook memes that nobody saw or cared about. Okay, this is not that. We're talking about a genuine intrusion by foreigners into everyday American political discourse for the clear purpose of dividing and distracting us from our own country. And now that these frauds have been exposed, they've been melting down to great comedic effect in many cases. So we'll start with an account called Israel Exposed, which, as the name implies, is fixated on the state of Israel. This is a big account. It has nearly 200,000 followers. This is another thing, is a lot of these accounts have a lot of followers. These are big accounts. And to give you just one example of the kind of content this guy is putting out, he posted this reply just a month ago in response to a random person who criticized him. He said, quote, "You are a Zionist pretending to be an American patriot. We should deport you." This is a common attack line, which you'll see all over the place, part of a constant, relentless effort to make Israel the subject of every discussion on the right. Everything has to go back to Israel, everything all the time. It always comes down to Israel for certain people on the right. As we talked about last week, it's Israel first, just from the other direction. And what they'll say sometimes, is if you don't criticize Israel 24/7 like they do, if you don't make everything about Israel all the time, then you're not patriotic. You're not sufficiently America first. If you're not thinking all the time, every day, every hour, every moment of the day about another country, which is Israel, then you're not America first. Being America first means being focused entirely on another country. That's what these people would say. And according to, at least this one account, you should be deported if you are not that focused on it. Well, this account, of course, has also gone after me several times and hasn't been particularly effective. Just a few days ago, for example, I pointed out that Muslims are killing Christians and generally have animosity towards Christians and have for, about 1,400 years or so. Specifically, I wrote that, quote, "Muslims have been killing Christians for 1,400 years. They're killing Christians across the world right now as we speak. Islamic countries are also flooding our country with immigrants who hate us." Of course, that's true. But here's what Israel Exposed wrote in response, quote, "This is some Zionist propaganda. Israel is the problem." So, just more brain-dead nonsense. The millennia-long conflict between Islam and Christianity, I will tell you, has nothing to do with the country of Israel established in 1948. But this is the kind of slop that's polluted right-wing discourse for a long time, and that's all that this account does. And over the weekend, we learned where this account is from. As you can see there, he actually is based in Saudi Arabia. Yes, the account that was threatening to deport an American citizen used the word we to talk about Americans, is not even American, right? He's a foreign agitator posing as an American in an effort to destroy political discourse in this country. Now, multiply this account by about 10,000, and you begin to see the scale of the problem. So here's another example. This is a post from an account called Native American Soul, and it depicts a woman pretending to be, extending a middle finger in front of Mount Rushmore, along with the message, "You're on looted land." Well, it's pretty inflammatory, but the kind of thing we're used to seeing. Pretty aggressive message. But actually, that's not the remarkable thing about this post. The really amazing thing is that this particular Native American is, we just found out, posting from Bangladesh. Yes, we have the world's first Bangladeshi Native American. Glass ceiling has been broken. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if that woman was ever really in front of Mount Rushmore. Or is she even a real person? Of course, she's not. And as it turns out, there are many, many allegedly Native American accounts that are also from Bangladesh. This is a whole cottage industry over there. This is very, very common. Here's another one. This one's called Native American Pride. And then there's Native American Culture, which publicly lists its location as Indianapolis. But in reality, they are also from Bangladesh. And here's one of their recent posts, quote, "In the smoke of ancient pipes, our ancestors whispered to the winds. From the northern lakes where the eagle soars to the southern rivers where the jaguar prowls, this red earth has always been our heartbeat. It is all native land." Now, presumably, the primary intent of many accounts like this is to farm engagement and sell merchandise. But it would not be difficult to imagine that that foreign governments are heavily involved here as well. Of course they are. And either way, we're going to need an option to block or mute all accounts from outside of America. I mean, that's the next step here. We should be able to block or mute based on region and country. And honestly, that should probably be the default option at this point. The slop is so far out of control that just something needs to be done. Take the account Mahmoud Gaza, for example. A few days ago, he wrote, quote, "All I hear now is F-35 and intense bombs south." Got hundreds of thousands of views for reporting on the brutality of an Israeli bombing raid. But it turns out that Mahmoud, despite its handle, is not in fact based in Gaza. Big shock there. As you can see, he's really thousands of miles away in Poland. Dealing with those Israeli bombing raids in Poland, apparently. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Turns out that for a while, BBC has been citing someone named Motassim A. Dalul, claims to be a journalist in Gaza. Here's one example of the BBC's coverage, which you can see. Quote, Motassim Dalul, a journalist in Gaza City, told the BBC he had seen and heard multiple Israeli airstrikes there on Thursday. From time to time, there are fighter jets which carry out attacks and destroy homes and other facilities, he said. And indeed, you can see why the BBC would find this guy to be pretty compelling. Seems to document a lot of really awful examples of war crimes as part of his job as a journalist in Gaza. For example, in October, he posted this viral tweet, which you can see, quote, "Israeli occupation forces left booby-trapped toys behind them in Gaza. Why all of this hate for Palestinian children?" Now, in recent days, he's also claimed that children are trembling in Gaza because it's apparently freezing in their tents, even though Gaza is actually relatively warm right now. But in retrospect, it makes sense why he would say that it's cold. And can you guess why? Well, yes, it turns out that Motassim Dalul is actually based in Poland, which is indeed cold this time of year. This is someone the BBC has been citing as an authoritative source on the ground. It's someone who's been taken seriously by leftists as an eyewitness to atrocities, and he's a liar. And there are many, many more accounts like this. Far too many to list. To give one more example, an account called Naila Ayad, which has nearly 100,000 followers, recently posted the question, "Does Zionism control the world?" And the account's public location is the United States, which again you can see. But over the weekend, X revealed that he's actually in the Netherlands. And meanwhile, another large account that posts similar messages called Tiberius Files has 180,000 followers. Turns out he's posting from Thailand, not the US. The account MAGA Nation, with nearly 500,000 followers, is based in Eastern Europe. There are a number of other MAGA accounts that are not based in the US. Actually, there's a lot of them. You can just type MAGA into X, the search bar, and just go down the list, and you're going to find a lot that are not from here. including a bunch of accounts like this one, Ivanka Trump News, which has 1 million followers and is based in, it turns out, Nigeria. So you can get your Ivanka Trump News from Nigeria. This is an endemic problem, and now that it's being exposed, some of these foreigners are not taking it too well. Consider the account Garbage Human. This is another slop account that doesn't post anything relevant or interesting or valuable at all, as you could guess based on the name of the account. But it is someone who posts obsessively about American politics and American culture. He's also been attacking me a lot lately. This is part of the engagement farming shtick, is you go after accounts that are bigger than you because you want to get their engagement. You have nothing to offer, just kind of leech, like a parasite, just leeching off of someone. And of course, by acknowledging it right now, sort of giving him what he wants, I understand that. But that unfortunately is a necessary evil in order to expose, the extent to which foreigners are intruding in our national conversation. Well, it turns out this guy is actually from Australia. And this is one of the more embarrassing discoveries, which is really saying something, because Australia is falling apart. They don't even have free speech rights. They arrested Billboard Chris a few weeks ago for holding a sign in a public place. Their economy is declining. It's got a lot of problems. But instead of fixing his own country, this particular Australian is obsessing over the U.S. I mean, this is a guy who stays up all night so that he can post about America while Americans are awake, while doing nothing at all for his own country. It's another thing to keep in mind with these foreign accounts, and you see them posting slop all day. Well, if they're from like Australia, it means they just stay up all night. It means like this is some guy in a foreign country up at like 3 a.m, just obsessively engagement farming off of American politics and American culture. And there are many such cases. Now, it's important to understand that all these people want, excluding any government operatives that may be involved, what most of them want is attention. And they're realizing that now that they've been exposed as frauds, that no one's going to care what they have to say anymore. I mean, once you lie to your audience, you're done. It's really that simple. Presumably, that's why professional MAGA hunter Ron Smith, a relatively large account, just left X entirely, deleted his whole account after X revealed that he's actually from Kenya, a country that, among its many faults, doesn't have a lot of MAGA supporters. Meanwhile, over in Saudi Arabia, the account known as Proud Black Conservative is still going strong. They have not left in shame. This is someone who, based on his profile picture and bio, doesn't seem like the typical resident of Saudi Arabia, especially when you see God Bless America, American flag right there in the bio. But indeed, as you can see there, he's from the Middle East. Just another black MAGA guy in the Middle East posting slop day in and day out. Although, strangely enough, he stopped posting his slop ever since this weekend. So we'll see what happens there. And we're going to see a lot more of this as the grift continues to dry up. And that means we have a real opportunity here to refocus our conversation on issues that matter to Americans instead of angry foreigners. But just for my own purposes, it's been eye-opening to click on the accounts of people who are attempting to troll me and seeing which third world hellhole they come from. Some of my most dedicated trolls are in fact, I had some in mind. As soon as this went live, I'm like, okay, here's a few I'm going to check right away. Almost every single one, not from America. What do you know? This guy, for example, was telling me to get back to work from Paraguay. It's almost too pathetic to even comprehend. I mean, imagine if I decided to devote a single second of my day to fighting with a podcaster in Paraguay. I can't imagine doing that. Being so invested in another country that I'm getting into arguments with their podcasters in that country. I'd have to jettison every ounce of self-respect I ever had to even comprehend the idea of obsessively attacking a foreign podcaster. But for these people, it comes naturally. In other news, we did finally learn where the Church of Satan is based. And no big surprise there. For many years, the Church of Satan has been operating in an undisclosed location, presumably one of the circles of hell. But now we have a more precise location. It turns out that they're actually based in Canada. So, no big surprise. Since COVID, millions of Americans have started taking emergency preparedness seriously, especially when it comes to food storage. And that's smart. But here's the problem most people overlook. All that emergency food doesn't do you much good if you can't actually cook it when the power's out. That's why My Patriot Supply put together their Black Friday Survival Special. You get a 4-week emergency food supply, plus over $150 in essential gear, everything you actually need to prepare those meals. We're talking about a portable cook stove, fuel tablets, fire starters, a water purifier, a bug-out bag, and more. It's basically a complete survival kit in one package, perfect for natural disasters, civil unrest, or worse, and honestly, makes a pretty practical Christmas gift too. But it's only available through Black Friday, so head to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh to check out everything that's included. With all the uncertainty in the world right now, we simply can't afford to be unprepared. So go to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh and get prepared today. That's mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh. Now, having run down this very incomplete, non-exhaustive list of foreign influence ops on X, I know I'm going to get more angry messages from these foreigners who are furious that they've been outed and just very upset to be accused of being non-Americans, which they are. So let me save you all some time. And here's my message to all of you who are crying in my mentions right now. Here's the thing. Because we're not saying that I keep getting this response from these foreigners saying, well, what are you saying? We have no right to, so what, we can't give our opinion about, you can give your opinion. You can give your opinion all you want. But we don't care. Okay, because most of the debates that we have on social media are about American politics and American culture. And we don't care what some random guy in the Philippines or wherever has to say about those subjects any more than he would care what we have to say about the internal disputes in his country. Okay, if you're a foreigner, I'm sure you have a lot of great opinions about the stuff happening in your own country. Talk about that all you want. But the debates in and about America are for Americans. If you are not from this country, we don't care what you think about American politics. We don't care what you think about American culture. We don't care what you think about American elections. Why would we? You have no skin in the game here. You have nothing invested in it. You're not from here. You don't live here. Nothing that happens here affects you. And this actually matters. It's not just annoying that so many foreigners are butting into the conversation. It's actively harmful. And the reason is that we cannot have a coherent or productive political debate if that debate includes a whole bunch of random foreigners from all across the world who have no stake in this country, no skin in the game, no firsthand knowledge of our culture at all. And that's why it's very important to identify the foreign intruders and bully them mercilessly until they shut up and leave us alone. Like, we cannot talk about or fix any of our problems when we've got a mob of foreigners constantly barging into the conversation. So mind your own business. Okay? Focus on your own problems. Your grift is over. It's that simple. And that is why all of the foreigners posing as Americans on social media, all the many, many thousands of them, are today canceled. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.